Now, there's something particularly orcish that I just love about the possibility that they're distilling spirits in Mordor. Hi, I'm Harrison. I'm a certified sommelier, distillation definition knower, and your Mid-Earth Somm. So, when you're distilling, the distillate is broadly categorized into three unique phases. The first is the heads, an undrinkable portion containing a high percentage of poisonous methanol, bad-tasting aldehydes, and ethyl acetate. The second, what we all end up drinking, is called the hearts. The third and final portion is called the tails, which is similarly full of undesirable alcohols and compounds. To know when the distillation has transitioned from one phase into the next is purely the result of time, experience, expertise, and craft, and there's almost always a small amount of overlap between the three phases, meaning that some of that poisonous head can end up in the heart. Oh, damn. That was a really good band. What was that genre called? Stomp and Clap? Why do we ever stop making Stop and Clap? There were so many good Stomp and Clappers. We had Mumford & Sons, Lumineers, Edward Sharpe, and the Magnetic Zeros, Zooey Deschanel. Wait, was Zooey a stomper or a clapper? No, she was a stomper and Ward was the clapper. Or did I have that reversed? God, I could just never tell them apart. They look so... Similarly, some of that shitty tail can end up also in the heart. Now, master distillers know how to blend and age and redistill to make sure that your firewater is as delicious and non-poisonous as your country will legally allow. I don't think orcs would be so scrupulous. I could just totally see them full-on drinking the poisonous heads or unsavory tails just to have bragging rights or to prove their strength. And I'm fairly certain I know what genre of music they'd be listening to while they did it. Who was drinking grog in Middle-earth? Was it the orcs, or was it no one? So what is grog? So grog is very specifically a rum cocktail derivative. So rum is one of the more recent, in the vast eons of different distilled spirits that we have, rum came about once we started having slave plantations in the New World. It is distinctively a product of imperialism, colonialism, and slavery. That's where we got the triangle slave trade. So rum comes about when you distill fermented, the byproduct of sugar, molasses, and then aged in barrels. Then some people filter it out so that the color goes away, and other people don't. It depends on the different style. Some people do leave some sugar in there, or add sugar, somewhat controversially. I actually think rum is nice when you have a little sugar in there, bring some balance to it. But grog specifically came about because the Royal Navy, so the Brits, would give, I believe, 2 rations of rum to their sailors every single day, one in the morning and one in the evening. And it would basically be, I think, the equivalents around like 1.5 to 2 ounces would be each ration. But they started getting worried that the sailors were imbibing, saving it up and then getting really drunk off of it. So they started mixing it in with water, diluting it, which is where we get the kind of modern idea of grog, which grog in that sense was just water and rum. And then the authorities recommended, if the flavor was bad, adding a little bit of lime and or sugar to it. So it's kind of like a super early daiquiri. That's where we get the idea of grog from.
So now on that, in the text, right, the orcs are described as like that's what's in their canteens, right? Like that's the common orc alcohol?
If somebody can fight me in the comment section on this, but I believe that's not in the books. I think that is exclusively a Peter Jackson thing where you have one of the orcs say, "Can't take his grog," or something.
Give him some medicine, boys!
I think it's "can't take his medicine," which is a line from the books, but I think that the idea of grog, I don't think that that's actually in the text itself. And I could Control F and search for that right now, but we're recording this live, and
We're
so
going
I'm
to
going
see
to
right now, and
yeah.
it's like, if we found it, it's going to be on screen right now.
There's absolutely no reason why the orcs should have grog. There's no reason they should have sugarcane distilled spirits. They're not in the right climate for that. Sugarcane only grows in tropical environments. So, it'd be more likely that Numenor or Valinor or Toledosea would be able to grow sugarcane, but certainly not Mordor, which is in a Mediterranean climate, or Gondor, which is also in a Mediterranean climate. Now, they might be trading for sugarcane out from Easterlings or Southrons. If we look at the extended maps that have been extrapolated for what Middle-earth looks like, it's very possible that there could be cultures out there fermenting sugarcane, but we just don't have any textual evidence for that.
Didn't Mordor also count the Corsairs of Umbar as among its allies?
Yeah, the Corsairs of Umbar are kind of, that's kind of an interesting textual ruin. I'm not really quite sure how a whole society of pirates operates. You need to have some sort of government, some sort of treaties or trade, or some sort of stable economy.
Have you not seen One Piece?
So come aboard and bring along all your hopes and dreams.
But you can't have a whole society just subsisting off of just pillaging.
You absolutely can. You need to watch One Piece.
And look, there's a broader discussion. I mean, some people theorize that the Roman Empire was all just one big pillaging operation where basically you expand the limits of the empire out, you get more slaves to work mines, the mines produce money, the money goes back to the citizens who then further fund the military excursions, and it's kind of this perfect triangle. Graeber in Money, Money the First 5,000 Years or something like that. We'll put the picture up there. Does a really good job of kind of describing that cycle. So go check that out for yourself. Is any imperial enterprise inherently sort of a looting venture? I don't know. That's more of a philosophical question than it is a Tolkien question, and it's certainly larger than what the Corsairs of Umbar could possibly be, because that's only a city-state that we're thinking of with the Corsairs of Umbar. Were the Corsairs of Umbar basically Middle-earth's East India Company, the Dutch East India Company? The answer, sure, yeah, if they have a state sponsor. So yeah, maybe if Mordor is like bankrolling them, then why not? But the East India Company was able to do what it did because it was able to live both as an independent corporation with a large military force, and because ultimately it had the backing of a state behind it and the state power that comes with that. So I don't know if it can operate independently. But, there are corporations now that probably could do what the Corsairs of Umbar are doing with how much money they have. So I don't know. Yeah, all right, so confession time, all right? So from when I was a little kid, being an American, born and raised in the Pacific Northwest, where we all have this flat-ass, like, broad coast standard accent, I'd only ever heard people say token, like Token from South Park.
Token's name isn't Token. It's Tolkien.
Yeah, I know it's Token.
No. He's named after the guy who wrote The Hobbit and stuff.
Yeah, I know. J.R.R. Tolkien. What did you think it was?
So you didn't get the joke on South Park?
No, I did. I did get the joke on South Park, but I'm like, why are they talking about the professor that way? So I'd only ever heard super posh British people go, "Oh, Tolkien. Yes, I love Tolkien, the Silmarillion." And I was like, okay, I mean, that's just a British thing. But apparently, it really matters a lot to y'all that I've been saying Tolkien for a long time. And honestly, I'm embarrassed for me. And that should be enough. I have tried to apologize. I have done my best. And now I am overcorrecting. So if in the last couple of videos you've heard me saying Tolkien, just know that it's because I don't want to get yelled at anymore. I'm very sensitive. I have a mushy little heart, and my soul can't take it. Tolkien. Like, the toll that this is taking on my soul has made me very keen to say Tolkien. See, it doesn't sound right to my ears. It really doesn't. I've been saying token for so long. J.R.R. Token. Like, I'm token for token, I'm token when I'm watching the movies. I'm putting in a token to watch the film. Yeah. Because the other thing, too, is like, how is it spelled on the book? Tolkien. I don't think any of us are pronouncing it right. I'm not a monster. New canon, J.R.R. Tolkien. Get it right. See you in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more Mid-Earth Psalm.